What's up, coders? Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is CodeWave, and today we're gonna build a beautiful portfolio website that you can use to impress your clients, and they will give you a job. You can also share it with your friends and put it on your portfolio. Okay, let me give you an overview of what we are going to be building today. Okay, so if you see, we have this beautiful site with beautiful animation. Okay, you see when you hover over it, there's a beautiful animation, bouncing animation in here, and also scroll animation. There's also light and dark theme, very beautiful. Okay, so this is what we are going to build to showcase your talent. Okay, it's fully responsive as well. Okay, so check on mobile screen, you see it's fully responsive, as well as if you check on tablet, it's also fully responsive. Okay, so now to get started, if you are new to React, make sure you go to react.dev to read about the documentation, and make sure you have Node.js installed. So if you don't have, kindly download if you're new. And also you have a code editor, Visual Studio Code, VS Code installed. Okay, now let's get started. So just open Visual Studio and drag an empty folder into it and just open the terminal. Okay, and let's start by saying mpx create react app, and we're going to install it in the same directory, so I'll put /. Okay, so this will take some couple of minutes, so I will pause and resume when it is done. Okay, so we are done. Okay, so now we're going to use Tailwind CSS. So we'll go to the website of tailwindcss.com and copy the commands. So we install Tailwind CSS and we also initialize it here. Okay, so let's wait. It's done. We initialize it. Okay, and what is the next thing to do? So we copy this and add it to our tailwind.config.js file. So we replace it with this, and don't forget to add JXX to it as well. Okay, good, beautiful. So now there are boilerplate codes that we will not need, so we'll delete them. So select the logo, the test file, the setup file, and just delete all of them. And okay, so when you come to the documentation again of CSS, so we should copy this and add it to our index.css file. So you can delete all of this, or better still leave it. So I'll add it to the top here and just remove this and say padding to 0, and also box sizing to border box. Okay, and let's also remove the code here. Yeah, good. Okay, so now we are left with these 3 files. Let's remove this, we don't need it, and clean this as well. Okay, now we go to the app.js, remove this and clear all of this. Okay, now let's go to the documentation again. Okay, let's copy this and paste it here. Okay, and test. Let's say npm start and run our app and see if the Tailwind is configured properly. Okay, so it's working here. We have it here. Okay, so I'll put the browser and editor side by side. Okay, so now let's create a folder in the source file known as component. Okay, so I'll bring my assets. So I'll leave the asset in the description box so that if you want to download, you can download it. And I'll also bring a file called data, and in it I've prepared some couple of data for the project. Okay, so you can download that one as well. Okay, so the asset contains images and the icons of the icons we're gonna use. Okay, So now let's go to the app.js and remove this. Also change this to say width.full and height also to full. The main height should be 100 VH. Okay. And we want to give a background color, a BG color of white. Okay, so now we want to add, if you want this highlight thing, you know, you need to have some extensions installed. First one is ES7, and also have the Tailwind CSS IntelliSense also installed. Okay, for the code completion and suggestions. Okay, so now we're going to add the dark theme. So we will use something called use state. So we say dark mode and set dark mode. Okay, dark mode, and set its initial value to false. Okay, so make sure it's imported at the top here, use state from React. Okay, so if you are new to React, perhaps you might be asking what is a use state. If you go to react.dev and search for use state, no, not this, use state. Okay, if you search for use state, it says that use state is a React hook that lets you add a state variable to your component. So this is how we create it. Okay, so we have the state here, that's which holds the value. Okay, so if you want to get the value, you call the state, and this is the function or the set state to actually set a value to the state. Okay, so this is what you call if you want to pass a value to it, and this is the initial state. Okay, at the state of creation. So this is our state, and this is the function to set value to our state. Okay, we'll make it mode, and this is the initial state. So the initial state is set to false. Okay, so now let's go here and say dark mode to class. Okay, so this is coming from the documentation of Tailwind CSS. So just set dark mode, and if you go down here, they say you should use it this way. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. Try to read the documentation always. If you don't understand the classes, utility classes of Tailwind, just read the documentation. Okay, so now let's continue. So here we'll turn it to a backtick and wrap it in braces. Okay, good. So now then we add that so we put a condition that if dark mode is true, then we add dark to it. Else if it's not true, we don't add it. Okay, now let's continue. So inside we're going to put a div, and in that div we're going to give some classes. So we say width to full, height to full as well, and the main height or minimum height should also be 100 VH. Okay, so the BG color should be white normally, and okay, so normally it should be white. So now let's give another div and say that the class with I mean on dark screen. So when we toggle it to dark, we're going to set the the background color to this color that I have prepared, this gradient. So I'll leave it in the description. If you want to download or get the same colors, you can use it. Okay, let's put in hello and see. Okay, it's working. Let me zoom it. It's working. So if we change the state to true, we can see now that the theme has also changed to the gradient we just applied. Okay, so now let's look at our design. So if you look to our design, you see we have this Navbar. So that's what we're going to design. So let's go to our component, or make sure you spell it correctly. Okay, component, and create a file name navbar.jxx and just type rfce. So just make sure you have that snippet. Okay, so rfce and put navbar in it. Now let's import it here instead of hello, and make sure it's imported at the top there. Okay, so now we have navbar here. Okay, so let's go into the navbar and develop our navbar or build our navbar. So, but before then, we will need to pass some values to it because we will need some values. So we get another state that it's open and set is open to false. Okay, so we'll use that one to control the drawer on our mobile screen. So we'll pass dark mode and pass the dark mode to it. We also need is open and pass the is open to it. Okay, we will also need some functions to control these two states. So okay, so now let's define the function. So we say we have const toggle menu and set it to an arrow function. Okay, and say that set is open to this opposite of. Okay, so now we are using the function to pass the value to the state. Okay, so we just use the exclamatory mark and set it to the opposite of it, but there's a more robust way of doing it. That is, we get the previous state and we change the previous state instead. Okay, so we get the previous state. Now this time the previous state is false, so we just want to get a false and then change the value to true. This is more robust than the first one. Okay, now let's define another one for the theme and also go the same way. Set dark mode. We get the previous state and change the previous state. Okay, so now we can pass these functions to our navbar. Okay, so let's come here and say toggle menu to toggle menu. So we are passing the functions. Okay, yeah, so this function is what we are passing to it. Okay, and we see toggle theme to also toggle theme. Okay, so if we come here now, let's start designing our navbar. Okay, okay, so we give this class px of 0, and on extra large screen, 2x screen, we give the pattern x left and right 40. Okay, now let's put inside it, we'll put another div and give some classes. We say the width should be full, item should be in center, and we want to justify content to space between. Okay, between. Then pattern top and bottom we give for pattern left and right, we give 10. Okay, beautiful, it's coming up fine. Okay, so inside this we will put another div and give it some classes. We say it should be flex, items should be in center, also justify to be space between, then we give the width of full. Okay, so now let's put in an a tag or an anchor tag and put the name as CodeWave. You can put any name you want there. Okay, now let's type that anchor tag. We'll give the href to /. That's we want it to go to the same page, the same home page here. Okay, now let's give some classes. So we give the text to be 2XL and the font should be bold. Text to blue 500. Cursor pointer. Okay, let's save it and see. Okay, so it's working out fine. Let me zoom it out a little. Okay, so if you zoom it out, okay, it's coming out fine. Okay, so under it we will have unordered list. Okay, then we have items, the list items. We have put it in an anchor tag. So we have A, home, and we give the href of hash home. Okay, then let's give some classes to the list item with a cursor pointer, and on hover we want to change the text color to blue 500. Okay, it's coming. Okay, it's here. Now let's style the ordered list. We want to hide it on small screens, and on medium screen we want it to be flex. We give a gap of 10. Text should be LG. Then the text should also have this color, slate 800, and on dark we want the text to be gray 200. Okay, so now you see it's hidden. Okay, because of we are zoomed in, so it's hidden. Okay, so you can see it, but let's continue. So we'll just duplicate this 2 more times. Okay, and change this to about, and change this to projects. Okay, change this to projects, and this to about. Okay, so now let's continue. So you come under it and give a button. So we want a button for the theme. Okay, so in it we going to use React icon. So let's install it, npmi React icons. Okay, so let's wait for it to finish. Okay, done installing. Let me pull this down. Okay, so you can go to React icons if you new and search for any icon you want. You can search any icon like home icon and see. Okay, so I have the icons here already, so I will not search for it. So I'll say on dark mode we want to show this icon, fi sun. Okay, and on light theme we want to show a different icon, that's md outline night light. Okay, so let's make sure these icons are imported. So let's come top here and say import fi sun from React icons /fi, and also import the other one, import md outline night light from React icons /md. Okay, so let's come and give it some styling to that. Good. Okay, so we need to accept the parameters or the arguments we pass in. So dark mode, and is open, toggle menu, and toggle theme. Okay, so now we can use it. Okay, so now let's style the icon. So we give it a size of 24 and a color of gray. Oh, the color, it's strange, so you need to be in quotes. Okay, and let's give it actually white. Okay, we'll copy this color, styles, and put it here, and change this one to gray. Okay, so now let's give the function, let's pass the function to the onClick event. So on click we just want to toggle the theme. Okay, so when we click, okay, it's working. The icon also changes perfectly. Okay, good. Now let's give some pattern of 2. Okay, good. Now let's come down and give another div, and we're going to put another button, the hamburger menu. Okay, so let's give some classes. We say on medium screen it should be hidden. Okay, that's all. Okay, let's give button, and in the button we'll give, see, the type should be button. Okay, let's give this area controls. Okay, and give it as mobile menu. Okay, and also give area extended and set it to false. Okay, now on click we want to call the function toggle menu. Okay, so now let's put the icon in here. Okay, so the icon we're going to use BI menu. Okay, BI menu, let's make sure it's imported from BI, React icon BI. Okay, icon/BI. Okay, okay, so let's give a size of this 26 and also give some classes. Okay, so we put it in a template string and says, okay, if it's open, if it's open is true, then we want to hide this, else we want to show it, so block. Okay, so it's here, it's dark, so let's give some styling so you see. Okay, then we want to give the text color. It should be behind. Okay, good. So text should be gray dash 700, but on dark theme we want the text to be gray dash 300. Okay, so now we can see it here. Okay, now we'll put one more icon that when we click on this, then we show a close button. So we say AI. Okay, so I'll copy and paste it here and import it. Import the AI outline close from React icon/AI. Okay, so we're gonna give the same size 26 and also classes that. Okay, the same thing. So we'll say if, so this time we'll only change the value of the hidden and the block. So if it's open, then we will show it. So if it's open is true, say block, else it should be hidden. Then we want to give a height of 6 and a width of 6. As well as on that theme, we want the color should be gray 400. Okay, so now it's working perfectly. Good. Okay, so now let's come down here. Okay, and now let's gonna give the mobile menu. Okay, so in here, let's start this div, give it some classes. Says let's give it a template string and say if it's open is true, then it should be block. That's where we'll show it. I want to give a padding top of 4, else we want to hide it. Okay, but we just want to make sure that on medium screen it is hidden. Okay, and let's give the ID of mobile menu. So inside it we're going to have the various items. So we'll put it in the div and style it, give it some classes. It says it should be flex, the flex should be column, and the gap should be 4 between the items. The items should be MD in size, and the text color should also be gray dash 700, but on that theme the text should be neutral dash 200. Okay, so in here we'll put the A tag and says home. Okay, so now it's here, we close it, okay, it's working. So we'll put the href and just point it to hash home. Okay, then give it on click event, because when we click on it we want to close the menu as well. So we say toggle menu. Okay, now let's style it. We just want a cursor dash pointer. Okay, good. Okay, so now let's duplicate this 2 more times and change this to about, and also this to about, here to projects, and here to projects as well. Okay, so now we have it this way. If you open it, it opens beautifully. Okay, so now our navbar is done. Okay, okay, okay. So now let's come down, then go to, so say we put a section tag and give it the ID of home. Okay, then give some classes. With the padding left and right should be 0, and on LG screen and large screen the padding left and right should be 5. On extra large screen the padding left and right should be 40, and padding top and bottom should be 10. Okay, on LG screen the padding top and bottom should be 0. Okay, so now let us create the header.jss. okay, where we'll do the design. Okay, so now let's import it here so that we'll see what is happening. So we'll say header, and make sure you see it's imported here. If it doesn't import, just make sure you import it manually. Okay, so now let's go to the header tag, the header file. So we will need some files from our assets. So we'll need MongoDB, we'll need Node.js, we'll need profile, then ReactJs, as well as Redux. So all these are coming from the data file that we have. So we'll say asset slash asset. So in the asset we have an index file there where we are exporting all these things. Okay, so we'll give some class with a width of full and flex of column, as well as on LG screen we say flex should be row. Okay, the padding left and right should be 8, and on medium screen the padding should be 10. Gap 10. Okay, and to Excel the gap should be 20. The padding top and bottom should be 20 as well. Okay, so it's coming up fine. So let's another div inside that div, and in it we'll give it some classes. We say it should be flex, the flex of column, and margin bottom should be 20, and LG margin bottom should be 0. Okay, so in here we'll put a span tag and put in full stack developer. Okay, so now let's style it. We'll give some classes to it. Say classes, class name should be test-lg. We want the font to be bold. The text should be orange-700. Okay, so we're getting this color, and that's all. Okay, we come down and give another div, and in that div we give some classes. It should be flex, the gap should be 4, item should be in center. Okay, and we want to give margin top and bottom of 4. Okay, so we'll put h1 tag and says I am. Okay, that's all. So let's style it. Okay, so we'll give some classes. So test should be gray dash 800, and on dark we want the test should be neutral dash 100. We want the text to be 5XL, and on 2XL screen we want the text should be 7XL. Okay, the font should be bold and text should be in center. Okay, it's coming up fine. So under the h1 tag we will have a div, and in that div let's give you some classes. It should be flex, the item should be in center, it should be justified to center as well, and the text should be white. We want to give it a little shadow of LG and a BG color of blue dash 800, and on dark we want the background color should be this color I have prepared. Okay, so I'll put it here. Good. Okay, so on dark we want the text to be this color also. I'll copy it and bring it here. Okay, good. And we want to give it some rounded corners, so say rounded dash full. Okay, so in here we'll put a p tag and put developer. Okay, so it's coming up fine. Let's start the p tag. We give some classes of text to 3XL. Normally it should be 3XL. Okay, but on 2XL screen the text should be 5XL. We give it a font of bold and a PX5, PY of 2 and PB of 2. That's padding bottom, text to center. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so now let's come to down this div. Okay, the last bar 2, and give another div, give some classes. The text should be 5XL, and on 2XL screen the text should be 7XL. The font should be extra bold and text to black normally, and on dark theme the text should be neutral dash 100. We want to give a tracking of wider. Okay, so we want to give some spacing. Okay, so we'll just put in name, that's CodeWave. You can put your name there or any name you want. Okay, let's make this an h1 tag. Okay, so we're done. So under it we'll put a paragraph tag, and I'll copy this text and bring it here. Okay, so now let's give some classes. We say the text should be MD, the text should be black, and on dark theme the text should be gray dash 100. We'll give a margin top of 5, as well as on 2XL screen margin top should be 10. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so let's give the bottom. So we give a div, and inside that div let's style it so text should be margin top of 10, flex, and we give it a gap of 10 as well. Okay, then we give a bottom, and in the bottom we say hi me. Okay, so now let's style the bottom. So we give the PG color of orange dash 700, and the text should be LG. Then we change the text color to white. Make the font also semi-bold, and give some rounded corners of rounded MD, then pattern top and bottom 3, then pattern left and right 5. Okay, I think the margin top is not working. Oh, okay, make it empty instead. There should not be text. Okay, so that's all. We're gonna have another button, so we'll put it in a tag and say projects. Okay, so we'll give the href to this and just put hash projects. Okay, so on click, then it takes us to the project section. Okay, so let's start this also. The text should be LG, the text should be white, the font should be semi-bold, rounded MD, padding top and bottom 3, padding left and right 5, and the BG color black. And on dark theme, the BG color should be this color. Okay, we save it. Okay, so let's change. Okay, it's working fine and it's coming up fine. Okay, so now we are done with the left part. So now, okay, so toggle this. Now come here, the last part, one div, and put another div, and we give some classes. Okay, so see, the width should be 320 pixels, and height, oh, it should be small h of 320 pixels as well. And on medium screen, the width should be 600 pixels, and height should also be same. So MD 600. On 2XL screen, the width should be 700, and height should also be the same, 700. Okay, 700 pixels. Okay, we'll give a rounded of full. Okay, to make it circular, we give a border, and the border color should be gray dash 600. And on dark theme, the border should be gray dash 200, and we want to make it relative. And MD, want to give a margin top of 20, and we give on LG screen the margin to be 0. We want to make it flex, and item should be in center, and justify also center. Okay, so it's coming up fine. It seems our shape, okay, so it should be small px, and okay, the W should also be small. Okay, so now, wow, it's coming up fine. So inside this div, we'll put an image tag, self-closing image tag, and put the source to the profile that we imported. Okay, so this profile is here. Okay, you can put your image there. Then we give some classes. We want the width to be auto, and the height should be full. We want to make it absolute position. Then we want to, the top should be -5, and on MD screen the top should be -10. Okay, so it's coming out fine. Okay, nice. So now let's give another div, and that div will give some classes. We want to make it also relative, and the width should be full, the height should be full, and rounded also full. Okay, so inside this we will have some images. So we'll give the image tag, provide the src, and the src will be the React icon we imported. ReactJs, it should be ReactJs. Okay, ReactJs instead. Okay, so now we have the icon here. Now let's style it by giving it some classes. So classes, we want it to be absolute, then top to 7, and on MD the top should be 20, left to 0, and on 2XL the left to 8. The width should be 16, and height of 16, and MD width of 20, height of 20 as well. Okay, so now it's positioned on the line, so we'll just duplicate it and change the icon to Redux. You can use any icons you want. So change this to bottom, the top to bottom, okay, and the left to 3, this also to 12, okay, 12, and this should remain same. So let's save it. Okay, so it's on the line here. So let's copy this and paste it again and change the icon to MongoDB. Okay, so this should be top of 3 and left, instead of left to right. Okay, then this should also be right. This should be okay. So let's copy and paste this one again and change this to Node.js. Okay, so it should be bottom, and this should be right, and this should be right as well. Okay, so now let's change this to 12. Okay, it seems like way big, and change the value from here. No, not here. We change the value of left. Yes, from left we change it to 3. Okay, so it's in a perfect position. So feel free to play around with these. So now we are done with the home. The image shape seems to be distorted. Okay, let's check if all is well with it. So we have this is correct. Okay, this is also same. 600 pixels. Okay, same. 600 pixels, same. And this 700. And this, okay, so we have 2H here, so remove 1 and we should be good to go. So let's see it in full glory. Okay, so now we are done with the home tag. Okay,